Well, hello, this is Larry from Blue Collar Nation, and we have a special edition for you today. I was hoping yesterday on April Fool's Day, someone was going to say that this virus was an April Fool's, but apparently it didn't happen. So I've got my business partner and tech whispering friend here today, friend, associate, colleague, keeps me in line sort of until I start rambling like this. And we've got an amazing guest today. We're very excited. A relationship marketing expert, Jim Bardwell from Fiber Protection America. How are you today, Jim?
You got it wrong,
Fantastic.
bro.
Fantastic.
Fiber protector.
Fiber protector, fiber protection. It's all the same thing, right? We're protecting people, protecting fibers. That's it.
Well, Jim, you are my mentor in relationship marketing. We saw you at Howard years ago, and I said, I want to do what that guy's doing. And
you
I've
did.
been trying to mimic it for the whole time. I stole many of your good ideas. So hopefully you're okay with that.
Well, it's interesting. Okay. It's interesting, Jim, because I'm kind of the outside observer between you and Larry. I know you both, and you guys have very different styles, but the end result is similar. You know what I mean? Like Larry's taken strains of your stuff, but Larry's personality is a little different, so he tweaked it to his, and it just worked amazing. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, and that's what I tell everybody. You know, I say, listen, don't be like me. You can do like I do. You can go out there and perform the task that I perform, but do it your own way. And really, the thing that I can't teach, man, I can't package this and stick it in somebody. It's either there or not. Now I can cultivate it and help it bloom and blossom, but the first question I ask people when they say, hey, I want to be a relationship marketer, I say, great, tell me about your relationships. And if they just start rattling off all their relationships, oh yeah, well, I'm in this club and that club. And when I was in high school, I was the president of this club and that club and all that good stuff. You know, if you don't like having relationships and nurturing them and being part of them and active in them, then you really shouldn't do this. You know, that's the thing. And the first time I met Larry, I said, well, this guy's got this because he was being relational with everybody in the room. You know, that was his deal. So little tricks that you can learn and little.
So Jim, what you're saying is I probably shouldn't get into this line of work.
Well, you know, what's funny about that is a high D can do relationship marketing for about 18 minutes.
Yeah, no, maybe 17. I think it's 17, but you're close.
Yeah,
that's true.
The thing is, that 17 minutes is going to be amazing. It's going to be the greatest relationship building moment that has ever existed, and then it's over.
Yeah, then I need a nap by that point.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so Jim, we're in unprecedented times. I'd love to talk to you, and the reason I invited you on is because we had talked off Mike a few minutes before. A lot of your and Larry's kind of superpowers have been taken away, that hugging people and touching people and, you know, giving high fives. And those are the things that you've built relationships upon. What do people do now?
Well, you keep doing exactly what you've always done, which is putting a value on building relationships. Now, there's an important word in that sentence, building. It does not happen through osmosis, guys. Relationships don't just, they're not the outcome of something else, right? Like in business, there's certain key things, Eric, that you know as a businessman. You know, if I do these certain key things, a natural outcome will be profit, right? It's like math, right?
Right.
Well, building relationships, it's similar, but it doesn't happen, you know, you can't just say, okay, today I'm going to go talk to these 8 people and these 8 people are going to equate. It's not as cut and dry in that. And there's a little bit of a nuance to it, right? Well, we say these are unprecedented times, but because I'm a student of history, this has happened before. Maybe in none of our lifetimes, but there are some people that are alive that were little babies when this happened. You know, the great influenza pandemic that swept the entire world 100 years ago was exactly like this. There are black and white pictures that you could take today, and if you colorize them, of course, change the clothes a little bit maybe, they're today. People walking around with masks, people with masks on their babies, hospital wards that are spilling out into the street. So this has happened before. But
Yeah.
one thing that they did not have, imagine, Larry, imagine if you and I were alive in 1918 and we were tasked with marketing for a company. That companies back then, right?
Yeah.
We really would have been at a handicap, because when they locked them people down and said, no more, you can't do that, you can't talk. Dude, they didn't have telephones back then. It had been invented, but certainly every business didn't have telephones, right?
Telephone, email, texting.
Nothing, zero, zip, zilcho, right? So we are in a time that is pretty unique. There is no reason why we cannot continue to nurture, and forget nurturing, even building our relationships with people. There are so many tools, so many things that we could be doing. The trick here, and if I could just take a moment and really talk about what the disconnect is, it's not that we don't have the tools, guys. We more than have the tools. We live in an age where we can continue to communicate with people all around the globe. I'm sitting in Nashville, Tennessee right now. Eric, where are you at?
I'm way up in the mountains of Utah.
Utah. Larry, where are you?
California.
Guys, this is a crazy, we're living in the future, right?
Yeah.
And the disconnect is not this. It's not that we don't have the tools. It's right here. But really and truly, Larry, that's always been the disconnect. It's not that you and I do something that no one else can do. They just weren't willing to do it. And when something like this happens, you know, our natural gut instinct is to curl up in a ball and do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, as human beings of all these years of being out, back when we lived in the jungles and the woods, and there were things that would eat us, right? If we were walking through the woods and we heard something and we said, oh, that might be something that'll eat me, right? What did we do? We hid. We curled up in a little ball under a tree and covered ourselves with leaves and got small and got quiet. Yeah. That's the worst thing you can do right now. So yeah, I would love to talk to you guys about some things that I'm doing in my own business. Again, I'm the sales marketing education coordinator for a national company that's part of an international brand. And we are definitely doing some things that I think are going to pay off. I know they're going to pay off. And I'd love to talk to you about that.
All right. So Jim,
go ahead. Tell us
go ahead. Go
please.
for it. The floor is yours.
Fantastic. Okay. So what did I say? We have tools that are just amazing that we can still continue to communicate. So what is the purpose? What is the reason that we build a relationship with a client or someone that's in a position to help our business grow? There's a reason we do that, right? And the reason is because we know that Larry and I are individuals. We're just one guy, right? If we, and I know you guys are out in Los Angeles, if Larry would have said, man, Eric, I'm going to go talk to every single person in LA, you'd go, look, Larry, you're good, man, but there's no way that's going to happen. You're never going to talk to everybody in LA. I don't care if you started today and spent the rest of your life and only spent 1 minute with each of them. You can't make it. It's a math thing, right? And there's the whole other caveat. You don't necessarily want to talk to everybody in LA. So there's a whole bunch of people in LA that you would not get a benefit from knowing, right?
Right.
So relationship marketing is about saying, well, wait a minute. What if I made valuable key relationships with individuals that were in a position that I could help them, they could help me in my business? That's what Larry and I do, right? So unless you just started your company a week ago, the first thing I'd like to bring up is you probably already have valuable relationships that you should be nurturing right now. We can't go out and physically see them. No, we cannot. We can't go bring them cookies and flyers and specials that we're running. We can't get out there and go to B&I meetings and after hours wine and cheese parties, right, Larry? We can't do any of that. I'm a certified IDEC instructor. Guys, before this happened, I was in Florida for 2 weeks touring design firms, doing classes, and man, we were just blowing and going, right? Well, that all came to a stop. But those relationships that I'd already invested so much time and so much energy into, I've got to keep nurturing them. So the first thing that we did at the company that I work at is we amped up our electronic communication. We instead of saying, oh, well, we don't need to do so much because, you know, these times we're in, and something that's always frustrated me about this whole thing is I talk to guys about doing this and they say, well, yeah, okay, I'll do that when we make a little money. I don't have any money to spend right now. I can't do that. Okay. And then I talk to them 6 months later and they're, oh man, are you busy? Yeah, we're busy. The phones are ringing and everything. I said, great. Now you're going to market, right? Now you're going to go out and build relationships. You know what they'd say, Eric? No, I don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's always an excuse, right? And so this whole thing, man, Bardwell, there's a pandemic going on. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
This is a great thing for people that look for excuses there so they won't be successful. So this is what we started doing. Instead of saying, hey, let's pull back. No, last week, the first inaugural issue, the first time we'd ever done it before, I put out a newsletter. I started something new. You know, that's crazy thought right now, right? We wanted to make sure that our clients knew that we're here, man. We're okay. This first wave of this thing didn't blot us off the planet. We're still here, right?
Right.
And then we started analyzing what did our clients need most in that communication? What did they really need to hear from us? Did they need to hear that, guess what? If you want to, you can order this from me right now. They know that.
Yeah.
They've always known that, right? What do they really need to hear from me? Do they need to hear that you know, all the things that I'm canceling, we're canceling this and we're canceling so many emails. I'm talking from Fortune 500 companies. The whole email's about what's going wrong. They're canceling this and they're canceling that. And, you know, if you did, it's all negative, man.
And you don't even want to read that email.
No, you don't. You don't even want to read it. What do my relationships in my business need most right now? They need encouragement. They need to know that we're here, we're going to be here, and we're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to be here the next day. And maybe these are some things that we're putting in place that would actually benefit them during this time right now. And they want to hear it in a concise, straightforward, positive manner. So that's one thing we started doing. We amped up our electronic communication, okay?
Yep.
And when I say electronic communication, I mean emails, Facebook posts, Facebook little encouragement videos, yada, 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 yada.
So is the newsletter electronic too, Jim?
It is, yeah. We send it out via Constant Contact.
Yep. And
then we'll be posting it. We, for all of our members, we have a closed Facebook group. It'll be posted on there. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And something I noticed when we started this, this is where it really gets beneficial to folks like Larry and I. We rely on that feedback, man. We live on it. I love going to those places and seeing my friends, right, Larry, and talking to people. And
it's fuel.
It's fuel, man.
Yeah, that's right. It's
what we run on, man. You know, Eric runs on that P&L statement and that accomplishment of those goals and working hard and seeing those numbers. I mean, look behind him. Look at all there's math on that wall behind him, right? So you know that's what drives his personality. Well, Larry and I are driven by people going, "Hey, Larry, good to see you, man. You look awesome. How you doing? That was great. Hey, I saw on Facebook the other day, man. That was you were skiing, man. That's so cool." See where I'm going with that?
Yep.
So yesterday I was doing that video and someone was watching and he posted something that guys, it was like I was given a shot of the juice that keeps me going. He said, "Jim Bardwell, thank you for doing this during this time." I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
You don't know, for every one person that takes the time to thank you for that, there's other people that are benefiting just as much. And so that's one of the reasons we amped up that electronic communication. So what about people that we're at a distributor level, so there's certain things that we're going to be doing. Let's talk about people that have service companies. Let's talk about,
please.
You know, any kind of service company, a plumber, a carpet cleaner, electrician, people like that, right? That are practitioners of relationship marketing. Maybe they're students of Larry's and he's helping them learn to do relationship marketing. We need to stay in contact with those relationships that we have in place. Is right now the best time to maybe be out there blazing brand new relationships? That would be pretty tricky. That would be pretty tricky, right? But hopefully, again, unless you started last week, you should have a list of people that you've got relationships with and that are important for you to maintain those. I did some research, and so one of the things that I love doing, Larry backed me up on this, I love giving people gifts. right, Larry? I mean, we just
Totally.
yes,
Because they love getting them, which was just, it's so exciting seeing people smile.
we all do.
Yep.
With the exception of certain people in my life, you know, I've had people in my life, Eric's gonna laugh, doesn't it? I've had people in my life that if I walked up to them and handed them a crisp $100 bill, they take it and go, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't even get it. I got to go to the bank and get it broke. That's what they would say, right? But most people, Larry, right? Most people, you hand them a $100 bill and they go, oh, thank you. That's awesome, right? It puts a smile on their face. And, you know, I've given people gifts before. One of my favorite stories is it was Valentine's Day. Of course, Larry, right? We love holidays. It's just an excuse to do what we do. It was Valentine's time of the year. I walked in the flooring store. I gave the lady at the counter a little Valentine. Instead of smiling, she went, oh, she starts crying. I'm thinking, that's not the reaction I thought I was going to get. You know what she told me? She said, Jim, my husband passed away last year, and I just moved to this city. I don't know a whole lot of people. And she held up that little chocolate heart, and she said, this is probably the only Valentine I'm going to get.
That's heavy.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that, we have such a power. So we know the power of gifting to people. It's a tried and true, age old, every religion, every race, it just transcends all of that, right? So what are we doing right now, man? Larry, we can't go around giving our favorite people gifts. I found a website. Is it okay if I plug this on here?
Yeah,
Sure.
I found a website, and I have no vested in these guys. I just like them because of the way you can personalize it. It's called giftcards.com. Giftcards.com. And what's really cool about this is it's all electronic. You know, you're thinking, well, people probably don't want to get a gift card in the mail right now. I mean, no, this is all electronic. They'll get an email. But what I love about this site, you'll love this, Larry. Ready? You can personalize it with videos and photos.
Oh, cool.
Ooh,
What? Dude, are you serious? So in other words, I could send someone a gift card and they'll be me going, hey, Bob, I wish I could come see you, but I can't come see you, but I miss you, brother, man. And I just really am thinking about you, and we're going to get through this together. And I promise you, the moment they let me out of this cage, I'm going to come see you. And by the way, here's some cool, guess what kind of gift cards they got? Ready? What would be a good gift card to have right now? I don't know, maybe Netflix. Bam, Netflix. I don't know. How about DoorDash? People are getting food delivered. DoorDash. So what a cool thing to reach out to those relationships that are valuable to you. Send them one of these gift cards with a little video, personalized. I'm telling you, man.
that is powerful.
Yeah, and the thing is, now that I found this thing, I'm going to use this even when we do get let out of the cage, Larry. It's pretty awesome because, you know, I went from being a local relationship builder to now I know people all over the world, literally all over the world. One of my biggest clients in Australia. I can't go by and see him every day, right, Larry?
That'd be nice.
Really cool tool. So that brings me to that point. Utilizing this guy right here. I've always been a big fan of calling people. You know, I'll just pick up a phone and call somebody, right? I love doing that, right? And building relationships, there's something about the spoken word and hearing a voice. And it's just, and I tell you what's going crazy right now is every single person I call, every phone call ends the same way. You ready? Man, I'm so glad you called me, Jim. Thanks for calling, man.
Yeah.
That wasn't this way 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, you didn't hear that. And I promise you, I'll make a little challenge to people that might watch this. I'm gonna challenge you. Get in your phone and challenge yourself to call 3 people every day. 3 people. Call them. Jim, they're not going to answer. I don't care. That's great. So what? Leave them a voicemail and just say, hey, Eric, listen, man, don't need to call me back. I was just thinking about you this morning. You know, these are some crazy times we're going through, but one thing I do know, we're going to get through it. And I was thinking about you and just wanted to call you up and tell you, you know, I've always valued your friendship and can't wait till we get through this thing. I'm going to come out and see you, man. Maybe I'll come over to your neck of the woods and we'll go skiing or something. Talk to you later, brother. Bye. That's it.
You know, Jim, as this thing starts to lift, all of those little touches will be remembered.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, that's the thing I'm telling everybody. I'm saying that this is going to pay dividends long after. And this thing we're going through as a nation, as a world, think about that for a moment. Eric, you and I've talked about, we've been through tough times, man. We've been up and we've been down. I mean, our businesses go up and down, right? That's called being a business.
Yep.
You said you guys started during the Great Recession, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I was joking with Eric before we started that, you know, I started off on a new thing myself and boom, this happened, right? You guys opened a new business, boom, the recession hit, right? So it's a story. That's life, man. Life is a story of ups and downs. But no matter what happens, tomorrow will reap benefits for what you do today. That's just the law of the universe. And so we can't sit around and not do anything, guys. We've got to continue to do that. The last thing I want to talk about the telephone is the power of texting. So texting is something like, you know, some people just don't have time to take a call right now, right? They're just so crazy and busy and
distracted. Yeah, they're in their head.
Distracted is a great word, Larry, because I've been talking to people all over the country, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I'm like, oh, that's good, right? It means you're doing. He goes, oh no, we have no work.
Yeah,
I'm
trying
just
to stay afloat.
yeah, I'm really busy doing nothing. So what I would do is I would do some simple one-line text. Keep it extremely short. Now, Larry, you know, you and I, that's a high order, right, Eric? To look at Larry and tell him communicate something in one sentence.
Keep it short.
Small.
It's a high order for me. The greatest thing that they ever invented for me, Larry, was emojis, right? I mean,
oh, it's so much fun.
The
and the
two
gifts.
of you together, the kings of emojis.
Yeah.
The gifts that you can send on the phone.
I have my own emoji. Did you see that, Eric? I have my very own. Yeah.
So Larry, real quick, Jim, Larry will call me and be like, did you see the email? And I say, yeah. And he goes, did you see all the emojis? Sure.
Yeah. I tried to look past those, Larry. But
yeah, there used to be like 5 or 6. I had to shorten it down. MailChimp said 1 would be a good idea.
Yeah. Just find one that's like universal. Like, and again, there's a couple of different programs. I've got one that's a little cartoon caricature of me with a little thumbs up.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
That's the one I send out. What if you just sent that out to a lot of people? What if you just say, you know what, today, 10 people, I'm going to send a silly little emoji with a thumbs up and just say these words. You ready? Everybody jot this down. It's a big sentence. Hopefully they can write fast. You ready? You got this! Exclamation point. You got this. You got this.
Yeah, I mean, that might just be that little extra push they need to keep going.
Exactly.
You don't know when they're going to get it. They could be dealing with the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. And so, and this is really more universal, not necessarily relationship marketing, but what's going on with me personally in my personal life is this. Because again, I'm a student of history. I've studied especially military history, naval history, just love that stuff, right? And whenever they would make a new ship, the first thing that they would need to do once they had everything the way they thought they wanted it, right? And I don't know if you guys are sailors or been around boats at all. You take a craft out on the water and you have what's called a shakedown cruise. Ever heard that term? Shakedown cruise. What is the purpose of a shakedown cruise? Well, you're trying to find out if the boat's got what it takes.
Right.
You know, you don't want to baby a boat around the harbor and then say, okay, now let's go across the world and sail to Tahiti, right? Not a good idea. If you're going to go to Tahiti, probably the best thing to do is get the boat exactly the way you want it, take it out and just literally pull that helm back and forth and back and forth. Push the boat to its limits while you're still safely at the harbor. You want to, they call it a shakedown cruise because you want to find out, are any of those pots and pans that you think are nice stowed away in the galley, are they going to come flying off and hit people? Is any of the tack gear and all the stuff you've got stowed in lockers, is it going to come spilling out into the hallway? Forget that. Is the bow of the ship going to crack under pressure? Most people in America today have never been through a shakedown cruise in their life. We're the most fortunate and also challenged generation in the history of this country because we've never been through a shakedown cruise. Most businesses in America have never been through a stress test. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and tell you something, guys, and this might hurt some people's feelings, but if your business is set up in such a way that if you lose 2 weeks of income, that you're bankrupt, you failed the shakedown cruise. If your employees are so tenuous that the first sign of trouble, they're going to quit you and run away and go someplace else, you're failing a shakedown cruise. I do not think this is going to last forever. I think we're going to come out on the other side. There's some great government programs that have been put in place to help people get through this. But this should be a wake-up call to all of us. Guys, Fiber Protector America. We've already had a few things fall off the shelf. Sure. We've already heard some creaking and some moaning from the helm. Oh man, well, ooh, wait a minute. That don't sound too good, right?
Yeah.
So what is that telling us? That's telling us that we have got to make improvements in the areas that are telling right now. There is always a benefit to anything we go through in life. You just got to try and look for it and see it for what it is. There's a thing going around right now that are saying, hey, there's certain things that unfortunately, if you suffer from those, that could be a challenge were you to get this ailment. Now, some of them are things that we can't control. Number one, age, right? We all know that the aged, this thing it's a humdinger, man. It puts your body through a lot of stress. And so older people, their bodies can't handle stress as well, right? Well, one of the other things that's come out is they said, oh, if you're a smoker, this is going to be bad news. If you have high blood pressure, bad news. If you're out of shape, if you're way overweight, it could be bad news. That's a shakedown cruise, guys. That's a way of maybe getting some silver lining out of all this and realizing there are things that we can do. Marketing. If we have relationships, Larry, that if we lose communication with them for a few weeks, we've lost them forever. Shakedown time, man. That should be a wake-up call to us that we have not built deep, meaningful relationships. I've kept every voicemail I've ever received over the last 2 weeks about this. You know you're doing it right is when your network, your referral sources, your clients call you and leave you a message. That's powerful because they value that relationship just like you do.
Right. Yeah, well, then you're truly a partner and not just a vendor. Exactly.
That's exactly correct. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity for me personally, my household. My son is a senior in high school. My daughter just graduated from college and had just landed her dream job. That business has folded temporarily. My son, not going to have a graduation. This will be known as the generation that did not graduate. They're going to graduate, but they're not going to go through all the ceremony and everything, right?
Yeah, I got a daughter who's a senior in high school, and she's not a happy camper right now about that.
Not a happy camper at all. But what is this showing us? That what are we valuing in society? What are we valuing personally? What are we valuing professionally? What is truly important to us? What is the most important thing? What is the run it out of a burning building item in our life? You ever heard that theory, Eric? That if you're sitting at your desk, and you think, okay, what is the most important thing in this room? Well, you ask yourself, if this room caught on fire, what would I grab as I ran out, right? If I were on an airplane and they said the plane is going to sink, we've landed in the water, we're going to sink, everybody can grab one small thing. Most of us would grab our phone, right? Because all the information it contains. So what is that one item? And I started asking my kids that, what is the one thing that we cannot replace? We cannot get on the other side of this and be left without it. And all four of us at the kitchen table looked at each other and said to each other.
Yeah.
No,
it's amazing, what this has done. I've always traveled for work and, I've always been gone. This is the most I've been home ever. And by far. And look, I think everybody would say that, especially for somebody like me who's gone a lot. It has its challenges, but the upside is so much greater to have that time. And also, Jim, don't you think it's a time for all of us to reinvent ourselves, to figure out, well, what's going to be going on when this starts to lift, and who do I want to be, and what does my company want to look like when this is over? I mean, Larry and I were talking about this. now is kind of a perfect time in a lot of ways to do even to lay the groundwork for future relationship marketing, because owners, some of them have more time on their hands. They might actually read that email you sent or that text, or you know what I mean? Because when you're on go mode, you don't want to take on new things. You're trying to keep the things that you have going, the balls in the air.
Yep.
Right.
A lot of guys right now are sitting, I think, rethinking their businesses, saying, maybe for you, like carpet cleaner, he's rethinking, maybe Fiber Protect would be a good addition to my company, right? Whereas before, if he was doing, his company's doing 20 jobs a day, he might not be thinking that way. Just thinking, make sure other guys get their jobs done, make sure, I think there's opportunity in this.
Absolutely. And again, we have to, what's the old saying, be careful what you wish for. How many times an owner sat at their desk and said, I would come up with that detailed business plan if I only had time.
Yeah.
I would build more systems. I would come up with an employee manual if I only had time. I need time. I wish I had time. And so many people are finding out right now that after, once this has happened now, they realize, oh, maybe that wasn't the problem. Oopsies.
Right.
I've been using time as an excuse.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we're time rich right now. I am time rich. Oh my gosh. Just like I said, what was I doing 2 weeks ago? I was on a 2.5-week tour of the entire state of Florida, seeing all of our licensees and speaking in front of interior design firms and furniture stores. And, I was on the road. And now I do have time. But again, I think the thing that's keeping me going through this, that's making me want to say, what's really going on here? What is the opportunity here? Is you hit the nail on the head, Eric, is where is this going to take us? What is this going to reveal? This shakedown cruise could reveal, I don't know about you, but there's some people that hate to fly. They hate it. If you hate to fly, then one thing has happened. At some point in your life, you've flown at least once. You're never going to meet somebody that says, I hate flying. Really, how many times have you flown? Oh, I've never flown. How do you know you hate flying if you've never flown, right? I hate being on a boat. When I get on a boat, I just hate it. I can't stand it. It makes me nervous. Da, 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 da. Well, how would they know that if they've never been on a boat, right? There will be some people that this will make them understand. And again, my whole thing in life is I care enough about people to say what really I want to say and not worry about what they're going to think about what I'm going to say. And so I'm going to say this. You ready? There are a lot of people that are in business. They're really not happy. They haven't been happy since they started their business.
Yeah.
And there are people that are in business that probably would make a much better addition to a team than he would as a leader of a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Only
100%.
way they find that out is they got to have a shakedown cruise. How do you know you don't like cruising? Now, you know what? There's going to be a whole bunch of other people, though, that are going to go through this, and they're going to realize, and they're going to say, I fought with every tooth and nail. Eric, you would go down with the ship. It ain't going down like this. I don't care what we got to do. I don't care what we got to sell. I don't care if I've got to do it all myself. I don't care. I am not going to let this destroy my business. I know you, Eric. That's what you would say. Okay? And that's what you've got to have. You've got to have that attitude. And if you don't, it's okay. Guys, I spent 22 years of my career being an employee in this industry. I paid more in taxes than some people who were owners for years. I was very successful, achieved all my life goals and dreams by being an employee. I was very happy. And some people might figure that out from this.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Well, Jim, we don't want to take your whole day. We
totally appreciate you coming on. You got some great insights.
Stress enough how good that insight was. And you know what? It's beautiful. That applies to an electrician, a plumber, a carpet cleaner. I mean, those are universal concepts.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Anyway, Jim, thanks so much. Appreciate it, man.
My absolute pleasure, and look forward to seeing you guys on the other side, man. We're going to get through it.
All right.
Thanks.
Ready?
Good seeing you, Jim.
You got this.
You got this.
Perfect.